Hi, this is Kevin Trainer. I'd like to welcome you to my tutorial for the migrations coding assignment within the Easy University tutorial project. In this particular recording is part one of a multi-part series. So what we're going to do in part one is we're going to explore the way migrations work, and we're going to make sure that we are caught up on all the migrations that need to be applied in order to be sure that the model classes in our Django project are completely coordinated with the schema in our relational database. A relational database at this point in our project should be implemented with SQLite. Okay? All right, so let's look at where we are. How do you find out where you are in your migrations? Well, first of all, you can look in your project, and under each app, there should be there may be a migrations folder. And in fact, in our one app, Course Info, we have a migrations folder. And when you open that, you can see that there are two files, 0001 initial and 0002 auto, and then a bunch of numbers. And these both were generated automatically. When did they get generated? Well, they get generated when you run the make migration, and then that builds the migration file. And then when you run the migrate, it applies it. Okay? And at this point, we've done this twice. I can see that we've made and series 1 and 2. Have we applied them both? Well, I think we have. How do you find that out? Well, let's start up the development server. Well, manage Pi, manage.py. And let's go in here. And one of the commands is, let's make this a little bigger so you can see it. One of the commands is show migrations. And you just have to type in show and it auto completes. And then enter again. And as you can see, it says it has all the migrations by app. Now we have a bunch here that we don't have apps for, where these are the built-in apps that we caused to be installed. Okay, so those are not things that we have a lot of control over. But it turns out that our own custom app, Course Info, has two migrations, 0001 and 002, and they're both applied. Okay, well, let's look at what they were. It looks like we're caught up so far. All right, let's open 0001 initial. Okay, so what do we have? Well, we have these operations. Okay, and within that we have these migrations create model actions. Okay, and in this case, all of our model classes are being introduced one at a time with all of their fields. And this code looks a lot like the code that's in the model class. And it turns out that the migration engine reads this code and it uses it in order to create the action that needs to be run against our external relational database. Okay, and there's essentially one entry here for each of our model classes, and that creates each of our tables. Okay, And how did we get these? Well, we built the model classes, and then we ran a make migrations, and then we ran a migrate. And the result of that was that we were migrated up to 0001. So what happened in the 0002? Well, here's what we went through, and we decorated the model of classes with additional options, okay? Things having to do in particular with either the ordering or the unique together. Okay, so you can see a whole bunch of things that I have here on ordering and unique together. And so these are changes to individual model classes that happened. And what's going to happen is that when we apply the migration engine is going to go and actually change the schema of the external database. So if in fact we have everything done, then our schema in the relational database should reflect all of these refinements. Okay, so for instance, on student, we should have an index that says that we need these three to be unique together: last name, first name, nickname. Let's go look. So I'm going to open up, I've actually already opened up a copy of SQLite Studio. Okay. And I'm on, I'm connected to the right copy of the database. And we've gone through before how to do that. And here's what I want to do. I want to refresh the database. I guess you refresh those a table at a time. But we just were looking at student. So let's go down here to the table course.info.student. Oh, you know what else we should do? We should go up to the overall database and right click and say refresh selected database schema. So we'll make sure we have all that applied. Okay. And then let's go down to student and double click on that. We've opened that. And then let's go, this particular constraint is implemented as an index. And if we look, yeah, we do have an index that ends with unique. So it's a unique index. And it's on last name, first name, nickname. Just what we want. Okay, so it looks like they've all been applied. All right, so that's pretty good. Now, if yours haven't all been applied, apply them. Okay, so that sounds good. So let's take that off of there. And again, how do you get them to be applied? Well, again, well, I think this is probably what you want to do. You probably want to say make migrations space course info. So now it's going to, now it's either going to make a migration 3, okay, or it's going to, oh, let's not do that. Let's force ourselves to the point where we need a migration. Okay, so here's what we want to do. We want to say migrate course info. That's what we just want to say. And then enter. And it said there were no migrations to apply. But when you do yours, you may have had some migrations that weren't applied. Okay, that's fine. All right. And so now we should be caught up. All right. Well, here's something I want to explore a bit. Okay. I want to explore what happens when you're not caught up, and we're just going to experiment a bit. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say I'm going to open the last one that I have, 002. And I'm going to say, you know what? I am just going to, oh, sorry, I forgot to back it out. Remember how I said that you can run these either forward or backward? Well, when I do a show migrations, oh, sorry, let me get down here, show migrations, you can see that number 1 and number 2 are applied. How do I unapply to? Well, you just say migrate space course info space 0001. Okay. And what does it say? It says I'm unapplying the second migration for course info. Okay, so that's gone. That's been taken away. Oh, okay. So if in fact we go out and we look at SQLite Studio, okay, and we refresh the data, okay, you'll see that we don't have any index. Let's make sure that we refresh the whole database schema, okay. You can see that we've got the structure here. We've got the data, but we don't have a unique index because that was one of the things that we backed out. Okay. So you can go either forward or backwards, and there's a lot of power here, and it's good to kind of play with it a bit. Okay, so we back that out. Now, let's open up the generated migration code for 0002, and let's just say, let's just take out the migration that created that unique together index on the student table. Okay, I'm just going to back it out. Okay. All right, now that's been saved. And now let me show migrations again. And you can see that 2 isn't applied. And now I'm going to apply this abbreviated version of migration 2. So migrate course info 0002. And it says I'm applying course info 0002, and it was okay. All right, so we eliminated the migration code for the unique index on student. Now you can see that we have one that we've applied on registration. So let's go back to our external database and let's refresh the schema. Okay. And let's look at student again. Okay. And as you can see, we don't have a unique index. But let's go to, I forget where we were, registration. I'm sorry. What was that? Yeah, registration, unique together section and student. So let's go to registration and let's look at the indexes. And there is the unique index. So everything's been applied except the thing that we dropped. Okay. Now we're going to see what happens when we don't have all of the differences between the state of the model in our project and the state of the external database, that we haven't generated the migrations for all of them and then run the migrations. So we can just say this. We can say make migrations, course info. Okay, we're only concerned about our own app here right now. So it runs that. And what did it do? Well, it found two things. It found the one that I took out. It saw there was a unique together for student that uh, had not been migrated. And we also had that for sections. So even before I took out that one thing for student, I would have seen that I wasn't completely caught up. Okay, let's close this one and let's look at this 003. Notice that the 003 has a generated name. Okay. Also, a thing we haven't talked about yet, the dependency here. This says that this is linked in a chain and it comes immediately after 0002. That's how it knows what order to run them in. Okay? And it has a migration operation for section. That was one that was just hanging out there that I had forgotten to apply. And then we have one for student, and I kind of forced this one to happen. Okay, great. So let's apply it. Okay, before we apply, let's show migrations. And you can see we've applied 1 and 2, but not 3. Okay, so how do we get to 3? We just say migrate course info 0003. And it says running migration, it's applying migration 0003. All right, so let's go out. Well, let's just go out and make sure that these things have changed in the external database. So again, go up to the database and right-click and say we want to refresh the selected database schema. So make sure it's up to date. Okay. And let's see. We want to go to student, right? And then we want to do constraints and indexes. Maybe we need to refresh that. Tell me I can't find the indexes for student. Oh, I'm disappointed. Okay. I'm going to have to pause here because I've lost my magic. I'll be right back with my magic found. Okay, I'm back. So it turns out that I couldn't see the update until I closed SQLite Studio and opened it again. Now, is that good behavior from that product? I'm going to say no, but you should be prepared. So let's see. The practice one is not the one we want. We want the real one. And now we want to go to student, and we want to go to indexes. And there's the unique index for students. So it did apply that. And the other thing that was in Migration 3 was the unique constraint for sections. So let's open section and let's go to indexes. And you can see the unique constraint for that. Pretty good, huh? Okay. So these things can work either backwards or forwards, and we're going to be taking advantage of that going forward. Okay. Sorry, that's another use of forward as we go further in the class. All right. And I just want to be sure that by the time you wrap up from this part of the tutorial, this part one, one is that all the migrations for your course info app have been made. All right. So you should be able to come through and say make migrations course info. And if they've all been made, it should say there are no changes detected in the app course info. Okay. And not only have you made them all, but you've applied them all. Okay. So when you say show migrations and you go down and find course info, they're all applied. If you have any that aren't applied, then get the number of the last one, for instance, and say migrate course info and then the number 0003. In this case, it's already applied and it's going to tell us that. Okay? Yeah, it says no migrations apply. And also, one, I want to make sure that all your migrations are applied, and two, that you've experimented a bit with going backward and forward with the migrations, so that you're comfortable. So, for instance, let's do this. Let's show migrations again. Okay, and you can see that all of these are applied. Okay, all three for course info. Let's just unapply the last two. So we can say migrate course info 0001, and it says that it's unapplying 0002 and it unapplied 003 and then it unapplied 0002. All right. And then let's show migrations again. Okay. And as you can see, it has only applied 0001. Okay. Well, we can go again. We really want them all applied, so we can say migrate course info 0003. And it applied 2 and then applied 3. And if we say we want to show migrations, you can see that all 3 are applied. Okay? So we want them all generated with the make migrations for course info. We want them all applied with the migrate for course info. And we also want to get some experience with backing things out and then going forward again. Okay? So that's it for part 1. I'll see you in part 2. Bye-bye.